Kate Beckinsale is back to her action roots with a script that lets her down a little bit. Let's talk about Amazon Prime's Jolt. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Amazon Prime film, Jolt. If you are new to Dan Reviews It, I would love if you'd give me a subscribe down there, or hit that notification bell even to get all my TV and movie review notifications. And of course, hit that like button too. That always helps the channel out as well. Let's get right into this movie review. It's for Jolt, starring Kate Beckinsale, like I said, and it is an action movie, but there's some comedy elements to it as well, maybe some mystery elements. So Beckinsale plays Lindy, who is basically a mutant of sorts. I mean, she could be an X-Man, really, when it comes down to it. But essentially, she was born with this neurological disorder in which she experiences this, huge rage and murderous impulses. And the only way they can be stopped is when she shocks herself with this special device that her psychiatrist, played by Stanley Tucci, came up with. He has sort of a minor role, but he does appear a few different times throughout the film. Always love to see him. So he suggests that she try to find her place in the world, because as she was a girl, she was kept, pretty much away from society. She was kept locked up in institutions, but now she wants to try and experience the real world for herself. She meets this guy played by the always terrible Jai Courtney, and she falls for him, only to find out that on the eve of their third date, rather, he is murdered. So now she goes on a rampage to figure out what happened, while she is the main suspect by the police, played here by Bobby Cannavale and Laverne Cox. So, like I said in the intro, the script sort of lets this movie down a little bit, and I think in more ways than one. But let's talk about the positives first. I think Kate Beckinsale is a pretty competent actress. She, is not maybe an A-lister, but in everything I've seen her in, which is mostly the underworld movies, but I've seen her in other things too, she always does, a pretty decent job, and she's certainly good at, holding down the action front. And there are some really cool scenes in this movie, in terms of, kicking butt, and her, sort of both wrangling in her murderous rage and unleashing it, which, I think is one of those sort of, to evoke John Wick again. I know that's sort of the template these days, but, sort of enacting that revenge, and you're kind of like, yeah, go for it, they're the bad guys, whatever. But this movie gives us a little bit more of a complication, because she was born this way and she can't quite control it. But that's, I think, where the script might let the film down the most, is that I think this is a very interesting concept that they could have explored in different ways than just sort of a standard, okay, it's kind of a love story, then the guy gets murdered, so then she unleashes all hell. I think there are more nuances that could have been taken with that basic premise before we even throw the Jai Courtney character into it. And look, there's, a couple of twists that come up towards the end that maybe are a little interesting, but they had this really interesting concept and just kind of squandered it with a weak script. And the script was written by newcomer Scott Washka. This is the first feature film script that he's written, at least it's gotten made. And then even the director is, pretty new to the game. She's only done, I think, 4 or 5 movies, Tanya Wexler. None of those other movies I had seen. So sort of a first-timer there. But I just wish they explored more avenues with that. But on top of that, the cops in question are just the most bumbling morons. The Bobby Cannavale character is trying to, keep her safe and, clue her in on, oh, we are looking at you as a suspect, this, that, and the other thing. I'm trying to help you, which doesn't really make sense because he doesn't even know her. It's that is weird. And then Laverne Cox's character goes completely the opposite, and just starts shooting at her for no reason. And then all this stuff goes down, but Bobby Cannavale's character is still like on her side even after she's like done all this stuff and taken them on a police chase, and a lot of things happen. So look, that doesn't make any sense. The Stanley Tucci character, I would have liked to explore him a little bit more. It would have been more interesting to see her in some actual therapy sessions with him. I mean, I guess you would have more of a drama there probably than an action movie. But like I said up front, there's some comedy elements to this too that I don't quite think come out. Yes, I did maybe laugh a few times, and she does actually, Beckinsale does have, some comedic timing, so I'll give her that, but they're more like quips. So to call this an action comedy, as some of the sites do, I think is a bit of a disservice to actual action comedies like, Lethal Weapon or the Jump Street movies. I mean, this is, yes, there's some quips, but I mean, Arnold has quips in all his movies too. I don't know if you'd call Terminator 2 an action comedy, So I think this movie just doesn't quite know what it wants to be. It doesn't do what it needs to do with the subject matter, which again is kind of interesting. And it just turns it into a completely generic action movie. Now, that being said, Beckinsale does do a good job. Like I mentioned earlier, I think some of the action fight sequences are cool. And I think there's a pretty decent score to this movie as well. It really kind of gets you in the zone. And it's quick. It's only, I think, 93 minutes, which, yes, maybe they could have explored more for 10 minutes or something, 15 minutes about her background, and they sort of gloss over her childhood, but maybe I would have liked to have seen a little bit of her like at one of the institutions, or whatever, or in her adult life in some sessions with Stanley Tucci, who's created this sort of mechanism that helps her control the rage. There's a lot of different avenues this movie could have taken, and it just didn't, which left me a bit cold. But through it all, I was never bored with this movie, and Beckinsale does a lot with a middling script. So I end up leaving Jolt with a pretty middling grade. I will give it a C. That's going to do it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye.